Chromosomes. Little strands of nucleic acids and proteins are the fundamental genetic instructions that tell us who we are at birth. Most people are born with 46 chromosomes, but each year in the United States, about 6,000 people are born with an extra chromosome, making them a person with Down syndrome. If you've ever encountered someone with Down syndrome, you know that they are some of the kindest, most joyful people you will ever meet. They truly have something extra. My name is Lisa Nichols, and I have spent the last 24 years as both the CEO of Technology Partners and as the mother to Allie. Allie has something extra in every sense of the word. I have been blessed to be by her side as she impacts everyone she meets. Through these two important roles as CEO and mother to Allie, I have witnessed countless life lessons that have fundamentally changed the way I look at the world. While you may not have an extra chromosome, every leader has something extra that defines who you are. Join me as I explore the something extra in leaders from all walks of life and discover how that difference in each of them has made a difference in their companies, their families, their communities, and in themselves. I am so excited to have Coach Melody on the show today. Coach Melody is a health and wellness transformation strategist, entrepreneur, personal coach, author, and speaker. If you like this episode today, please go to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen and leave us a 5-star rating. Well, Coach Melody, we finally made this happen. You and I have talked about this for a while. You and I have known each other for, I don't even know. I was trying to think, how did we originally meet? I feel like, I'm not sure if we met through Adrian Bracey, our dear friend Adrian, through the YWCA. I'm not really sure, but I know you and I have known each other for several years now.
I'm going to be honest with you, Lisa. I don't remember. I really probably believe that it had something to do with an outing that we were at where we originally connected. And it might have been the YWCA because I know I was volunteering a lot with them when I first started with my entrepreneur journey. That's probably it. And then we hooked up on LinkedIn and now we're rooted sisters. So it's just a lot.
It is. And I'm so excited for our conversation today. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I was thinking about it this morning. And, of course, this is something extra. And I always ask, what is the something extra every leader needs? And I will tell you, you got to take care of yourself. Self-care as a leader is so important. And sometimes it's the thing that we dismiss. And so I cannot wait to get into our conversation. I know we've just got a lot to talk about. But before we do that, I'd love for you to tell me, because I don't think I've ever asked you this question, how did you grow up? I don't think you grew up on the St. Louis side. You grew up in Illinois, I think, right?
No. What happened is I had a brave mom who decided, I was born in St. Louis, and she decided when I was 10 that she was going to move to somewhere different. And she chose California. So I grew up in Los Angeles, actually, my primary years, high school. Also, I don't have a lot of the stories that they talk about as we, hear that famous St. Louis question, which is, what high school did you go to? But I went to school in California. Yeah.
Okay. So then what moved you back from California?
What moved me back was my pure desire to be with family. And because you got to think it was my mom, my brother, and myself. And all of my grandmother, my dad, my aunts, cousins were all here. And then I wanted to go back to school. And I knew, honestly, that I didn't want to return to California to raise kids because it's just such a hustle and bustle. And I like the community in the smaller area here in the Metro St. Louis. So I kind of came here, met my spouse in college, we got married, and I've been here ever since.
Well, good. I'm so glad that you moved back. Let's talk about this. It's you've already mentioned getting onto your entrepreneurial journey, but I know you didn't start out there. Few people do, but you have a BS in marketing and you started out in sales, I believe, sales and marketing. And you did that for a few years, but I have to ask you, there had to have been some sort of defining moment where you said, you know what, I want to help other people transform their mindset and get into healthy lifestyles. Can you tell me a little bit about that journey? What even was the precipice for that?
You know what? Life takes on its own form because I was a pharmaceutical rep and I was in sales and marketing. I did that for 18 years, loved it. I was an award-winning sales rep I had a multi-million dollar territory. I worked for a Fortune 100 company. That was fine for me. At the time, my husband and I had 2 kids. So, it was really about them and traveling and going to all their activities. But as it kind of was one of the pivots for me was when my oldest son got ready to go off to college. I looked at my husband's like, my whole life is wrapped around them. I didn't have as many hobbies because we were constantly running with them, plus working and supporting them. And I was in one organization that I did a lot of community service. And I told my husband, I said, I want to do something for myself. And pharma had got to the point where they were doing a lot of layoffs. So I decided to go back to school. I got my nutrition certification. And throughout this program, it talked about your own business. So I thought, oh, I help people lose weight, Lisa. It was just one simple thing. It was just something I was supposed to do. I was totally comfortable with my multi-million dollar territory, company car, expense account. All of a sudden the desires got bigger, and why they got bigger is because as I was selling like diabetes and blood pressure meds and sleep, I realized people were carrying in bags of medicine that were getting larger and larger. And I started talking to physicians, and I'm like, tell me, what is going on? Why are these people carrying bags and bags of medication? Can't we do more? And they were all come back with lifestyle change. And I'm like, doc, what does that mean? And they were like, lifestyle change means, exercising, eating properly, but they don't have the time to teach this because they're on a very rigid schedule now. And I thought, well, are people out teaching this? Because if they're not, this is where we need to start on lifestyle change in those areas that they can actually improve, at least to get off some of the medications, if not all of them. So as I started working and doing Unwrap You, just kind of part-time, just helping people as they needed it, I realized that weight isn't the issue. We got to take this back to mindset and behavioral modifications that are needed. And actually, people don't even understand it because we kind of go through a rat race of what I call life, meaning you go, 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 go. And people are not stopping and reflecting and really taking the time to understand what's beneath and what's getting in the way of their success as well. And that's where I come in at. And that's how I birthed Unwrap You. And you can see there, it was something behind it where when they get finished working with me, they are unwrapped. That was kind of where it was. You come in bondage or stress or not feeling so well, overwhelmed, just feeling like you need more help. And then through the support, that the education and what we do through the programming, it's like, wow, I'm a different person. I know who I am. And I'm going to be honest, Lisa, I started with myself. Like, I am a different person now than I was when I was a mom.
So where were you mentally? Where were you physically? And then how did you even get started with yourself? Can you go back to that time, which was what, about 8 years ago, I think, when you started Unwrap You, right?
I did. And I don't tell everybody this story, but it always tells, I'm like, whatever God put on my heart, this, and you kind of ran right to it. What really happened to me is that I got so stressed out. It's a long story, and I wrote about it in a book, Releasing the Superwoman Mentality, that I have. But the bottom line is I was so stressed because what I did, I was rolling out Unwrap You, and people were saying, well, entrepreneurs don't sleep. You hear that you don't have to sleep a lot, but that's not true. But I wasn't sleeping. I was managing the boy's life, my husband, myself. I was going to work every day. And one day I went to the doctor, and doctor said, hey, you're really healthy. This is the best review that I had. And like a month or two later, I completely broke out. And I didn't know what was wrong. So I went to the dermatologist. I went to every doctor known to man because they couldn't figure it out. Lisa, finally, we realized I stressed myself out so bad. And it had been for such a long time. And I tell people, stress kills, because it's one of those things that you don't even realize you are in until you realize you're in it. And my body responded to it. So it actually started attacking itself. And I ended up having to be taken off from work. And it was just 1 week. And I went back to the doctor. It was a specialist. And he was like, I've never seen this. How did you do this? And I told him, I was walking and I couldn't even walk to the front door. So imagine that. I went from the healthiest ever to not even being able to walk to the front door. And I remember the holistic doctor that I visited in St. Louis. She said, you need to make some changes, because if you don't, you're going to kill yourself. And I looked at myself and I said, what? And I went over to Forest Park, and I do a lot of praying and meditating. I went to Forest Park and I sat by the hill, and I called my husband. I said, something has to change. The doctor just told me I literally almost killed myself. And if I did not have Unwrap You and the practices and the daily routines that I was doing, that I could be dead right now. And it kind of messes with me still when I say it because it's so deep and so profound, because so many times we're not understanding all that this we're doing. The fact that we cannot say no as people that just like to help people and do different things. And it starts to feed on your own health. And so that really was the catalyst for me. I told my husband at that time that I was going to have to do something different. I knew it would be a big deal to walk away from my job. As I was going to the doctor and they took me off in October, I never forget it. My manager called. He said, "I know I'm not supposed to talk to you, but you need to get on this call." And they offered a random, you can leave on your own and take your package. And I told my husband, whenever another package come, I'm leaving. And so I had an opportunity to do it 2 years earlier, but it just showed me that I wasn't ready. I think that everything happens for a reason. I'm spiritually bound to know that what happens on purpose. And I needed the 2 years to kind of grow my outcomes and work with different people and executives and organizations as I was doing something new for myself. It has been 4 years this month in January. I have never looked back. I think everything happens for a reason. And I love what I did when I did it. And it gave me such great skill sets. And I am a salesperson by nature. So, yes, it's been 4 years full time and 8 years total.
Yes, I love that, and I'm with you. You know that about me. I believe everything that happens to us is for a reason. Everything is connected. So even what you were doing as a sales rep, you're taking all those tools and you're putting in your tool belt because you need those things now. Acquisition of clients is really important. I don't care what business you're in. So being in sales is good. So I know that you received the St. Louis American 2017 Salute to Excellence in Healthcare Award. You've appeared on Channel 2, various other media outlets. I mean, you've got a family fun walk because one of the things that you're really passionate about is childhood obesity. So it's not just with adults. This is an epidemic, if you will, with society in general. So tell me just a little bit, what are you seeing there? Why is that important? Give us some practical ways of managing our stress and our weight. How does that all flesh out with you when you start working with people?
You just really took me back down memory lane. That award was really fantastic for me because I was in the community doing a lot of work, doing interviews, radio, TV, print. In regards to what you asked me, there are a lot of practical things that people can do. Right now, there's a lot of weight gain. I know that as I'm all around the United States doing wellness for corporations, executives, there is a lot of weight gain. There's a lot of stress. There's lack of movement. We are sitting more. We're not, people are contained. People have people in the house that are older that have health conditions where it's limiting the amount of interaction that you have. And so I always tell people you have to be really smart with your time. And one thing is kind of creating a routine that includes you. And that's something that we talked about. That's something extra for yourself, Lisa. If you're not making time for yourself, and you heard me say I was very intentional, it's about making time. You don't find time for you. You make time, and that should be a part of your routine. And why I love the Fam Fun 3K walk is because when I started, it was the Family Fun 3K. And it was really to bring grandma, kids, parents together because I realized the obesity rate is higher than ever with our youth. The diabetes is growing in that segment as well. And it's because they're doing what we as parents do as far as the lack of mobility and just getting out and having the outdoor activities. They're doing a lot more on the computers. So we're brighter in one area and lacking in another, and just trying to get them to move. So we have a lot of different activities and fun things that we do at the walk, different moves, and then just the walk itself and different activities. And why I wanted to do that, because if we start our behaviors in a mindset younger, then we'll have better outcomes because it becomes part of their lifestyle. So I just wrote out a couple of new corporate programs last week. And one thing I was telling all of the executives and the team and employees, make this a family affair. Cook with your family. That's one little tip that you can do. Make it bring everybody together. So this is bonding time. When you get ready to go outside, let's go outside and walk together. let's go outside and play a game if you have a basketball hoop or if you need to throw the baseball. Let's go out and do this as a family. And so now it's like you're building that time where it's not about what you give your children, it's about what you give them. So when I say that, I mean, you're giving them your time, you're giving them the interaction, as opposed to just saying, hey, just go in there and sit down, or just go over there and I'll go in my room and you go in your room.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That is packed with so much good stuff, Coach Melody. Because I'm thinking time is so important with our children, but what you're also doing at an early age, you're building a healthy mindset, right? And habits, healthy habits. And we'll talk about that. But we do need to take a quick break and we'll be right back with Coach Melody.
We at Technology Partners understand the difficulty to find work that is engaging, yields high pay, and facilitates a work-life balance. Over the past 25 years, we have enhanced the IT teams of over 244 client companies and placed more than 3,000 IT professionals with them on short-term or permanent basis. Our staff includes over 300 experienced IT professionals. So if you're looking to take the next step in your career, visit jobs.technologypartners.net, apply for a job, and one of our expert recruiters will be happy to connect with you.
So welcome back, everyone, to the Something Extra podcast. My guest today is Coach Melody. We're talking about health and wellness and transformation of mindset. And Coach Melody was a corporate gal, and then 8 years ago started with herself because she realized she herself was stressed out and with anxiety. And now she's helping other people do the same thing. So Coach Melody, I know you and I've talked about this a little bit, and you said that you were struggling to even know what you were good at. And I know that once people really understand what their purpose is, then they can go. But sometimes I don't think people really even take the time to be introspective and to think about that. So can you tell me a little bit about your journey around that?
Absolutely, Lisa. In my 40s, early 40s, I struggle with what's my purpose? Like, what am I good at? And I started doing a lot of thinking through it. Like, what do people always ask me? And I guess because when I was in LA, when I got into more like high school, the first year of college, I got really into health and wellness and for myself and losing weight. I injured my knee in an accident. And so I was like, didn't want to gain any weight. So I started the vegetarian life. California is just kind of different, right?
Yes.
And as I was transitioning through, I'm like, I don't know what I'm good at. And I would even ask my husband, like, this is so frustrating. But it was always there. My aunts and my family always said I was really great at talking to people in sales. I still have to sell Unwrap You because I have to talk to corporations and executives about why this is a need and how it can be beneficial to their workplace, increasing their productivity and their ROI as we're going through and actually making their employees healthier and happier. So I still use my sales strength, but not in the same way, because when I deliver such impactful presentations, it is nothing, Lisa. And I promise you, every time I go somewhere, it's like, you're Coach Melody. I heard you speak here. You're Coach Melody. And it was really funny when someone in DC asked someone here, do you know Coach Melody? She was in DC. And so it's just really one of those where when I found it, it was already what I was doing. I just had to change it up a little bit. And going back to nutrition school and get my certification, but more in a holistic approach to wellness, that was the key for me, because now I have sales, marketing, the health part of it, and then I have the nutrition and the mental and the physical part of the aspect of wellness.
I'm just thinking a lot of times I know that I need to stay away from sugar. I know that I don't need too much caffeine in my life. I know I need more fruits and vegetables. We know these things. What is holding people back though? I mean, what have you seen with your work with people? It's like, how do you get it from your head down to your heart and then into your behavior?
Really, what I have learned, and I have worked with a whole spectrum of people, it really is about the commitment. And you said a key. You said, I know that I have to eat the vegetables and fruit and I need to work out. It's not about knowing. Maya Angelou has this quote that I love: nothing will work unless you do. Because most people are not doing what they know. And a lot of times it's about accountability and the drive. And sometimes, honestly, Lisa, it's about lack of education. because it's not realistic. I have learned that whatever approach you adopt, you have to be realistic with it. So is this what you really want to eat? That's the only way you're going to continue. Is this really what you like to do for exercise? Because if it's not what you are enjoying, you're not going to keep it up. So you asked me a question for myself. I live and breathe this because it's important to me. I cannot teach what I don't practice. So I always tell people I practice what I teach. I have a very strong routine that includes me, and I do it on a regular basis. I started this journey and I struggled, honestly. Let's go back to that. In 2006, after I had my two kids, that heightened my sense of wanting to help people with wellness because I thought I knew it all. I thought it was just what you said, portions and what you're eating. I could not lose that baby weight to save the world. After 1 year, I'm like, you don't get the baby weight excuse anymore. And so I started doing an investigation. And when I went back to the nutrition school, I was my first product because I was like, how do I get this weight off? I kept the weight out all through the pandemic. It's been a struggle and it hasn't always been just cookies and cream there, but it has been something that I'm not giving up on it. Just like you're not giving up on your company, you're not giving up on your family. You can't give up on yourself. And it's a level of commitment that takes lifestyle change. And that's something that doesn't happen in 21 days, 30, 60, 90. I tell people now, you need to really commit to the next year to work on yourself. And it goes beyond as far as check-ins and making sure you have someone to be accountable to. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense, and my mind is firing on all cylinders because we had said this earlier about getting out with your kids and playing basketball. Your kids, we are setting examples. We are being the model for the next generation. We need to bring our best self, number one, to our families, to our organizations, to our community. But then they're watching us and they are going to be picking up these habits. And so I told you, I just read just a couple of days ago this HBR article that came out, Harvard Business Review. It says when you want to change behavior, jumping headlong into a major goal with both feet can be a waste of time, but instead try to make small incremental adjustments until they are part of your muscle memory. By starting small, you can attain big results. It's great to dream big, but the way to achieve big is to start small. And it's this whole idea around micro habits. So I'd love to hear your thoughts around that, Coach Melody, as you're working with people.
Yeah. A micro habit is just a really small step on how you can start doing pretty much anything you want to do. I'll use me, for example. I started a micro habit with journaling. I was never a journaler before. I actually produce and I have my own published journal now that I use. It's not just a free writing, but it also has health tips in there. And I take that into organizations and corporations as I'm working with them. Because guess what? I try to get people to get just 1 to 2 habits or goals per session. And if we do that at the end of a year, think if you've done 2 and we meet every other week, you have 24 new habits, 48, just based on what it is that you're trying to do. So a micro habit is just breaking it down in small parts. So just journal. I tell people most of the time I do these polling questions and I'll ask employees, do you actually journal? A lot of people don't, and you have to figure out your why behind it. But for me, it's very therapeutic. It helps me to actually keep up with what I'm doing. And it also is very freeing because if I'm worked up about something or stressed or just kind of working on something or want to keep a memory of it, write it down, put the date on it, and just say, I'll do it for a minute. I'll do it 2 minutes. I do that with meditation. I was never a meditator. Now I meditate and I teach people how to do that because it's a really good stress relief where I'll do like a 1 to 2 minute meditation and people think it's like 10, 15 minutes because our minds have to be trained to absorb that, right? So you do small parts and then now you meditate 10, 15, 20 minutes because it's just about deep breathing. It's just about freeing your mind, not really thinking about anything. And our mind runs so much as we go through. So as you talk about the micro habits, just start small, focus on one habit at a time. It kind of gets overwhelming when people try to do multiple things. So I just say do one at a time. Remove barriers, have anything you need at hand, right? And then stack the habits. So how you stack these micro habits is If you do one or two every week, and they keep them kind of smart. I always say, make sure you have SMART goals, make sure that you're able to stack them. So now you started to cook at home, you are starting to meditate, you're starting to journal, you're walking a little bit more. You start with 5 minutes, then go up to 10 minutes, then, increase as you go over. Micro habits work out very well. And it's what we do day in and day out that create lifestyle change. So it's the same thing to me.
Yeah. Well, and you're talking about journaling. I'm a big journaler too, Coach Melody, and I love the whole idea of journaling, and starting small is a good thing. I know I read something recently about a guy that just wanted to start working out. Well, a little micro habit is just laying out your workout clothes the night before, laying them right there by the bed. And he said the first thing he does when he gets up is he goes on and puts on his workout clothes. So that would be like a little example of a micro habit that you can do.
His micro habit, he has to lay the clothes out. But I tell you, my body craves the morning workout. I don't have to lay the clothes out. Like, that's when you know that it's lifestyle change, when you actually do it and you enjoy it. I love, love, love to wake up. And that's the time that I'd say take care of yourself. So it's like the investment in me, just like you invest 10% of your time, 10% of your talents. Like, you have to invest in yourself also. And now when I don't work out, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Because it's really cold outside now. So I don't get to just do a quick walk in the morning. So I have to be more intentional about what it is that I'm doing and how I'm moving. That's why in different seasons, you need a different plan. And that's part of wellness as well. Is not just, you don't get to use the same plan for the whole year. What is going on in your life? What has shifted? Has there been any changes? Anything in your family or your job, your career? Like, all of those things start to impact your wellness. And if you don't stay on top of it, you'll look up and you're like, what just happened to me? Who am I now?
Well, Coach Melody, there's so many other things we can talk about. I had a little technical difficulty and we were a few minutes behind. And I had texted Jenny and said, hey, listen, tell everybody just to hang on. I'm coming. A little technical difficulty with the computer. And I got on, and Coach Melody, you go, no worries. Let that go. The words that we tell ourselves can cause so much undue stress. And, the words that we speak to ourselves are really important too.
Well, you know what? No worries has been my motto through COVID. And I'm going to tell you, this is so funny. I used to be a very wound tight. All my friends was like, you could not be 1 minute late coming to anything that I had to do with. They were like, I'm going to be on time because Melody is just, she's all about being on time. Now I'm like, I don't even build in. If I have a 30-minute meeting, I just take the whole hour, just because I know people have things that are going on, children, just like a lot. And I don't want to stress me out because I believe in valuing people time. And so with you, I blocked out more time. And when you came, I said, no worries, because I could feel you were kind of like, I'm late. And no, we're not going to start like this. This is going to be a great time. This is about stress management and your own wellness. Let's just take a deep breath. Inhale, exhale, and let's just do the work that we're trying to do, which is inspire others to really take care of themselves and live a better life and make sure they're living with intentionality.
Amen. Amen. That was beautiful. You said it beautifully. So, Coach Melody, I have to ask you, this is called something extra. And, it may be pretty obvious, but what do you believe is the something extra that every leader needs?
The time for yourself. I don't mind if it's 30 minutes, if it's 15 minutes tomorrow, if it's 45 minutes, an hour. You have to be intentional about time for yourself. I recommend you set a morning routine, because if we do it in the morning, we get it done before you have to get into the woes of the world. As far as your routine, it has to be consistent. So do it each and every day. You can even mix it up a little bit, and then learn how this will help to increase your productivity, the positiveness that you bring out and send into your employees, into your workplace. Because as leader, how do we lead others when we're not being the best version of ourselves?
Oh, so good.
That's something extra that I'll say for you. And also, it's not easily done. So just reach me, reach out to Coach Melody. That's what I'm here for.
Yes. Well, that's what I wanted you to talk about. So I know you have your Unwrap You. You can find her at unwrapu.com. You've got your 21-day challenge, right, Coach Melody? Do you want to talk about that just a little bit? How would people get involved?
Yes, I have. What I really recommend is that you contact me for a consult. That can be for a company-wide or an individual, because I have a lot of times, Lisa, where CEOs come and work with me, VPs, and then they're like, oh my goodness, this would be great for my employees, because you have to understand, we are going through a lot. We are almost 2 years in a pandemic. People need help. People need resources. They need ideas. They need inspiration, accountability. And so that's what I recommend. Just kind of reach out through unwrapu.com. You can get to me at LinkedIn, Facebook. There's links on my website. And I'm also on those social medias as Coach Melody. What I do is take you through a series and a discovery session to figure out what it is that's going to be most impactful. I don't do a cookie cutter approach to wellness. It really is based on what it is for you, your need for your corporation, your organization, your leadership team. People start at different places. I've had the CEO, the executive team, the whole workplace. And this is a great time of the year because it's New Year. People have New Year resolutions. They have one word. But I believe in just creating lifestyle change and continue that out throughout your life. So if you need more assistance, reach out to me and we'll schedule you a consult, 10, 15 minutes, and we'll get you going.
That sounds so good. Well, Coach Melody, thank you so much. I feel like I've had my little mini coaching session today. So thank you so much for being willing to be on the show. And I just know that, the things we've discussed today are going to help people. And I hope that they reach out to you for even more.
Well, thank you, Lisa, for having me. It has been truly my pleasure. I love spreading wellness around the world. And remember, this is virtual now. So you can be anywhere in the United States and we can still work together. And I look forward to hearing from your listeners, and I will keep you abreast of that. And Lisa, I am going to send you your own copy of my wellness journal. I have copies that I send because I do them through the workplace, but they can get it on Amazon, and that's on my website. I have a link there that you can get it right from the website. But I'm going to send you a signed copy because I appreciate you spreading this wellness and choosing me, because I know you had a lot of other options, and I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to receive that. So thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to today's show. Something Extra with Lisa Nichols is a Technology Partners production. Copyright Technology Partners, Inc. 2019. For show notes or to reach Lisa, visit tpi.co/podcast. Don't forget to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or wherever you listen.